Hola, viewers. Welcome to Housecoat Podcasting. Today we cover the TNG era of Klingon starships.
Unfortunately, you're going to be seeing a lot of gamma.
Yep, a lot of gamma cannon designs and some beta.
We have a new
but
ship for the
there's
fleet.
only two major alpha cannon designs. Three
Reinforcements
major
are
alpha
coming.
cannon designs for the Klingons in this time period. This is not one of them.
No, but I figured we'd start with a gamma one. This thing was apparently designed to be the replacement for the Katinga.
Huh.
Reinforcements are coming.
I think we all know the real reason you can't replace the Katinga. It's eternal.
Yeah. The Katinga just keeps coming. No matter how many times you try, the Katinga just keeps coming back. Even if it's phased out of the mainstay KDF, it'll still be used by great houses.
And then it'll just come back into service because it's just that good.
Yeah.
Nothing to add, Jorn, or are you having mic issues?
I'm here.
Anything to add about this thing?
Not much. I'm not all that familiar with the design of this one.
That's because it's a gamma design.
Supposedly intended as a replacement of the of the everlasting Katinga.
Yeah, I might as well explain the whole thing properly. Alpha on screen, everything. Beta licensed. Gamma
We
fan.
have a new ship for the fleet.
Yeah.
Reinforcements
Basically,
are coming.
the stuff you saw on screen was alpha cannon. Star Trek Online stuff would be beta cannon. And I suppose stuff in as Star Trek Adventures would be beta canon as well. Fanworks or homebrew ships, beta canon. Gamma cannon. Yeah. Anyway.
And now
Honor
for
my
probably
house.
the laziest
We
but
have a
most
new ship
effective
for the
design.
fleet.
Yes, the Cavort. This is
Beginning construction.
basically an upscaled Burrell. Very
My crew
upscaled.
is prepared.
Yeah, you're right. Yesterday, last time I was talking about the Burrell and the D12. The Burrell was scale in Star Trek Adventures. The Burrell is scale 3. The D12 is scale 4. This thing in Star Trek Adventures is scale 5.
We commit our souls to Stovoko.
Oh, that one, yeah. But yeah, the Cavort is an effective design. It is an effective design, even if it is somewhat lazy.
Lazy works.
Yeah,
We have a new
and
ship for the fleet.
in the Star Trek Adventures layout
Reinforcements
readouts,
are coming.
the Cavort, the House Katinga, the creators of the Burrell and the failed D12, were recovering their honor with the Cavort, and thus they made sure everything worked perfectly. No defective plasma coils making this thing fail.
I'm sending them to Grethor.
Grethor or Stovokor?
Grethor.
Oh, you're sending your enemies to Grethor.
No, I'm sending these ships to Grethor.
Ah.
After all, they, well, I don't exactly have much respect for them.
Yeah, gamma design. Anyway, we've seen those. We've seen the cavorts.
And now we have to talk about this thing.
The Vorcha. This thing first showed up in Star Trek The Next Generation in the episode that first introduced Gowron and saw the death of Chancellor K'Mpec. In fact, according to Star Trek Adventures, this thing, the ship that we saw that day was the original IKS Vorcha, the prototype.
We have a new ship for the fleet.
They, according to this book, the entered service date for the Vorcha is 2367.
We have a new ship for the fleet.
Reinforcements are coming.
Which certainly makes a bit of sense. It is designed to be the galaxy of the KDF.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I was rather annoyed in STO when it was paired with the Ambassador of all things.
Yeah. But, yeah. According to the book, the KDF had become complacent with battlecruiser design, and this was highlighted in
Crew is
quoting.
prepared.
This was highlighted in 2357 when Chancellor K'Mpec was leading a sizable formation of Katinga-class and Burrell-class starships aboard Kronos 1 in a show of force against the Gorn hegemony. Kronos 1 was to launch the first salvo of photon torpedoes against the hegemony
Beginning construction.
asteroid mining complex discovered light years inside the Empire's borders. But the power draw for the new torpedo systems was too much for the aging vessel, and the torpedo misfired and lodged inside the unpowered launch mechanism before detonating and killing many warriors.
Ugh.
A furious Chancellor K'Mpec transferred his flag to the Burrell-class AKS Planatok and ensured the mining complex was destroyed before ordering the KDF to design a new vessel, impressive enough to be a flagship for the Empire. Rapid advancements in warp core design, computer technology, and sensor systems from the Empire's friendship with the Federation meant the design of the Vorcha class kept undergoing revisions.
Reinforcements are coming.
Chancellor K'Mpec would die from a cowardly assassination via poison only 10 standard days after the launch of his new flagship in 2367.
Yes.
The second vessel built, IKS K'Mpec, was named after the late Chancellor by then-Chancellor Gowron and gifted to House K'Mpec to honor their namesake sacrifice. While the Vorcha class was originally intended to be only used as flagships, or as command vessels in large squadrons or small groups of battlecruisers, this has changed since the brief war with the Federation and the war with the Dominion. Katinga-class vessels are slowly being replaced by the new Vorcha class as quickly as warriors are trained in on the new vessel's system.
Beginning construction. We have a new
So,
ship for
yeah.
the fleet.
Some interesting war there.
Construction.
Which certainly makes... But of course
Wait,
we all know
here.
what the actual prestige ship is.
Yeah.
IKS Overcompensation.
Yes,
Just
the Nigmar.
further.
Which...
Ready for combat.
Well, where the hell...
Ugh.
Ah, yes. There we go.
IKS Overcompensation.
Yes. Seriously. And this is in Star Trek Adventures as well, and they have some lore. While the Vorcha class attack cruiser was a more than suitable command vessel,
We have a new ship
many
for the
generals
fleet.
still chose to lead from the older Katinga
Beginning
class
construction.
battle cruisers, as that class holds a strong place in our Empire's collective glory. The
Seconded.
KDF and
Seconded.
the KDF and High Council determined that a new battleship class would draw the last of the holdouts away from their century-old starships. This new battleship would need to be capable of taking on the most advanced vessels of the Dominion and other enemies. While not a true command ship, the new Nagvar-class warship is intended to lead from the front rather than assist generals in coordinating the battle. The first vessel launched in 2372, the IKS Nagvar, was assigned to act as the flagship of the Imperial fleet, with General Martok in command. It was only later discovered that the general had been replaced with a changeling spy. Production on further Nagvar-class warships slowed, as systems and security were changed in an attempt to limit the damage done by any information gained by the spy and delivered to the Dominion. As of this time, a few Nagvar-class vessels have been completed at the Kronos Orbital Factory. Those that have been launched serve the Empire's interest in supporting Starfleet against the Dominion, with no losses, and now act as command ships of flotillas exploring nearby space for much-needed resources.
And here's another Gamma.
That almost looks like a Vorcha.
We have a new ship.
Yeah,
for
that.
Starfleet.
Yeah, according to them, this is supposed to be
Reinforcements are
the
coming.
in-between design between the Katinga and the Vorcha.
Which is stupid. We know what that is. It's the Camarag.
Yep. And besides, this thing looks way too advanced.
Yeah.
It looks more like a Vorcha derivative.
Yeah.
Ready for battle.
That almost looks like a tiny Neg.
Well, this is the Feklir class.
Oh yes, that one from the Armada series. The
Yeah.
Klingon special weapons ship with all its unique abilities.
What does this remind you
We
of,
have a
Jorn?
new ship for the fleet.
One
Beginning
second.
construction.
The
Looks like something the Federation would make.
Battle cruiser operational.
I'm drawing a blank.
Starcraft.
Oh, yes, I can see that now. Yeah, this definitely reminds me of a StarCraft battlecruiser now that you mention it.
Oh, that.
Seriously, you didn't notice?
Remember, I never played StarCraft.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Beginning construction.
And I've played StarCraft and I've played Armada,
Let us
but
make
the
war.
difference in
have
time
a new
between
ship
doing
for the
so
fleet.
was such that I never spotted
Reinforcements are coming.
any similarities until you mentioned it just now.
And here's the Shulkach.
This, yes. Basically, the fast boarding craft of Klingon on starships. In Star Trek Armada, this thing fired off giant blocks of metal which contained 80 crew at a time. They latch onto an opponent's ship and deliver those warriors to do battle directly inside the enemy. Fun fact! I made a variant of that thing as a homebrew for Star Trek Adventures and replaced the giant metal firing out of the side
We have a new ship
with
for the
drop
fleet.
pods firing from underneath.
Beginning construction.
Firing from underneath down at
What
a
is it
starship
now?
or planet's
We have a new
surface.
ship for the fleet. Beginning
And someone on
construction.
the Star Trek
Crew is
Adventures
prepared.
Discord compared that to a Space Marine battle barge.
Not accurate.
Ready for combat. My crew
Not accurate,
is
but-
prepared.
Possibly not inaccurate either.
And now to unleash the force of... Well, I guess I'm a little disappointed that I don't get to blow up
Stop
DS9.
this ship now.
Uh,
Ready for combat. We crave battle. They come to quick. Reinforcements are coming.
Kapah!
Now
Destroy
with
them!
Armada had a whole lot of beta designs for Star Trek, for the Klingon Empire.
They didn't exactly have much choice.
Yeah, especially Armada 2. The original Armada had the Magvar, the Vorcha, and the Burrell, and they had to design pretty much everything else from scratch. And then Armada 2 added even more from scratch designs.
Getting construction!
You know, I hate to say this, but I'm getting kind of bored.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, what are some of the other ship designs we have here?
Well, that's supposed to be another D7 variant. That's supposed to be another heavy warship. We've pretty much seen everything.
Did we show them the Zhang? But yet.
Yeah, we did. I just blew it up.
Yeah.
I tried blowing up their starbase. It didn't end well.
Yeah. The Zhang was another Armada 1 design. It was... well... it was one of those end-game special weapon units. And for the four factions... the four factions of Armada are the Federation, Klingons, the Romulans, and the Borg. The Federation,
Reinforcements
their
are coming.
endgame unit was basically a giant facility that could freeze time.
The Mannheim Research Center.
Yeah. The Klingons and Romulans both basically had suicide ships. Klingons was the Zhang. We'll talk about the Romulan one later.
But for now, it is time for us to swap over to STO and explore those boats.
We have a new ship for the fleet.
Yes.
Reinforcements
3,
are coming.
2, 1.
Jump Vorcha.
Alright, let's take a look at the Vorcha, shall we?
Yes. This thing is kind of cool. Cool looking.
Vorcha Beta. Yeah, STO really does good work.
Yes. And the Vorcha, well, I grew up on TNG. My main the main Klingon starships I knew growing up were the Vorcha and the Burrell, and the Katinga to a lesser degree, but I suppose that didn't really show up in massive numbers in the 24th, in the shows until season 4 of DS9, when the Klingons deployed a huge battle fleet to invade Cardassia. And here we have the Camarag again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a logical design.
Yeah.
How do you make a bird of prey? How do you make a ship that is more primitive, yet more advanced?
Yes.
Oh yay, oh yay, I forgot. We're gonna have to deal with them.
Oh. I also, do we want to show off the Kronos 1 variant? This is another cryptic design, but the lore is kind of fascinating. This was apparently, according to lore, supposed to be an upgunned Vorcha that Chancellor Kempek was going to use as Kronos 1. But obviously he died before this could be implemented.
Yes, thanks to Doras.
Yeah. Nagvar. Up. Nagvar.
Yeah, fun fact, the Negvar did not appear first in DS9.
Technically, it first appeared in TNG as this thing.
Yeah. All good things must come to an end. And what came to an end?
TNG. This was in the series finale as a Klingon battlecruiser in the far future. And then when they were 2 years later, when they were starting up season 4 of DS9, they decided to recycle the model with a few new additions. The result, the Nagvar.
With the gun pods.
Yep.
Which also brings us to a simple but easily understandable point. This thing was IKS overcompensation for Gowron.
Yeah. Just all the guns.
It's not maneuverable, it's very clunky. It's got big guns, but that's all it's got.
Yeah.
You compare Martok to Gowron. Martok's flagship was the Rotaran, period. But
yes.
Gowron? What'd he choose? The Bortas. The Negvar. Big battle cruisers. Because big guns, big fun.
Yes. Martok liked... Martok's flagship was small, light, maneuverable. He understood what made a war... He understood what made a warship work. Gowron was clearly overcompensating for something. But
I'm not saying the ship is useless. I'm saying it's...
You're saying it's...
Well, it's overcompensating for something.
Yeah.
Frankly, I consider this a siege vessel with those huge-ass guns.
Yeah.
Just look at them. They're designed for orbital bombardment.
Yeah. Basically, I know you don't like this, Ron, but this ship is a representation of Maxim 37. There is no overkill. There is only open fire, and I need to reload.
Of course, this thing failed to break DS9, so that says something.
Yeah, DS9 was built. When the Cardassians built DS9, they built it to last, and the Federation only made it harder to kill.
No, DS9 was a piece of crap.
Oh.
And Starfleet upgrades only made it barely useful. Let's be honest, Cardassian tech is garbage.
Fair enough.
But we are finally done with the glories of the TNG era, and now we have to go back into the past.
To the days of Enterprise, when the Klingon Empire was only had just had its first encounter with the United Earth Starfleet through their only exploration vessel, Enterprise.
But that's gonna have to wait until the next time.
See you then.